Man, what a shit finale that was. At this point, it feels like every new Star Wars show that comes out is in competition for who can make the worst series possible. The Mandalorian came up with the stupid never take your helmet off rule, Beskar plot armor, and a badly CGI'd Luke Skywalker. The Book of Boba Fett was so boring that most people forget that it even exists, and Ahsoka introduced retarded space whales, trans-dimensional time travel, whatever the fuck this is, and bullshit witches with bullshit powers. Kenobi had Obi-Wan seriously trying to sneak Leia through security underneath his jacket. The fact that 3 adults somehow couldn't catch a tiny slow-moving girl. Everyone kept surviving being stabbed through the stomach with a lightsaber, sometimes twice. And Reva, who wanted revenge on Anakin so much that she decided to do everything he asked her to do. She even cuts a woman's hand off for no reason before eventually being forgiven like she's a good person, despite obviously being a piece of shit. Now that's some stiff competition, but the Acolyte has done its best to be the worst out of them all, as it's full of retarded characters, plotlines that go nowhere, people just teleporting all over the place, character motivations changing every 5 seconds, and worst of all, this whole show is utterly meaningless. The Acolyte was so boring, so poorly written that it's not even fun to take the piss out of.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
So let's not waste any more of our time on this shit than we have to, and hopefully this will be the last time I will be talking about this show. So let's go through the absolute mess that is the plot. It opens with Osha wearing Smilo Ren's dumb fucking helmet, and even though it's supposed to be like Magneto's helmet and blocks out the Force, that's just forgotten about as Osha randomly becomes super powerful with the Force before mind raping Smilo Ren. Not just that, but she also happens to see the future as well, and knows exactly where Sol is taking May, which is contrived as fuck.
So lazy.
Smilo Ren decides to come along, saying that he is going to kill May, and Osha says, well, that's fine by me, I guess. But as they are leaving, we see Darth Plaguies creeping around in the shadows and spying on them like he's Gollum.
Are you a pervert?
Now, besides this being a cheap, key-jangling, low-effort, lazy way to bait the audience, it also fucks up Palpatine's story about him as well, because he's no longer Darth Plagueis the Wise, a Sith so powerful he could create life. No, now he's Darth Plagiarize, a fucking loser who just copied a bunch of lesbian space witches instead.
That's just sad.
Also, why is he just letting Smilo Ren train an apprentice right in front of him? Because usually when a Sith apprentice takes an Acolyte, that means that they are planning to kill their master very soon and take their place. So you'd think that being a Sith Lord, Plagueis wouldn't tolerate that shit. I mean, Palpatine certainly didn't, because in the Clone Wars TV show, when he found out about Darth Maul's secret apprentice, he took the first ship right out of Coruscant, flew all the way across the galaxy, and absolutely beat the shit out of the pair of them, even killing Savage Opress. So why is Plagueis not doing the same exact thing? Well, I guess he's having too much fun playing with himself in a dirty, wet cave.
You're fucking useless.
Anyway, we cut to Sol, who has captured May, and he has decided to take her back to the witch planet she grew up on, as he believes that by doing this will somehow prove to the Jedi Council that there is a giant force hole on the planet.
I have a few questions.
Why did he have to take May here when the only evidence he really needs is her blood? Why didn't he just take a blood sample straight back to Coruscant and compared it with Osha's, which they should already have a record of since she was a Jedi? Not only that, but Sol already knows where the Force Hole is as he has seen it with his own eyes, so why doesn't he just tell them where it is?
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Nothing these characters say or do makes any sense, but then again, the writers clearly don't give a shit, so why should we? So because Sol never checked May's pockets, she pulls out Osha's toolkit droid, which conveniently comes with a lockpicking tool. Now, why would Osha, who is a mechanic on starships, need such a thing? The only reason I can think of is that she was using this to secretly steal from passengers mid-flight. But then that would make Osha a thief, and being a black woman, that's not very progressive of Disney now, is it? The real reason, however, is that the plot needs her to have it. So because of a lazy plot device, May manages to break free and escape on a mini shuttle that this ship has had all along but has never used, not even once. Not even when they spent 7 weeks on foot using one metal detector to try and locate the giant force hole, which could have very easily been found if only they just used this shit to scan the planet.
That's fucking stupid.
Sol then gives chase and is about to kill May, even though 5 seconds earlier he said that he needed her alive as proof. But she ends up being saved by Basil, the dumb fucking rodent who manages to bypass the compressor and turn the ship off.
Why?
Why is Basil helping May out now when 2 episodes earlier he attacked her because he knew that she wasn't OSHA?
Who fucking cares?
Well, it doesn't matter as May crashes into the planet full speed and yet walks away perfectly fine, just like how OSHA did when her ship fell from outer space and was completely destroyed, but she too also managed to walk away completely unharmed somehow.
That's fucking stupid!
At the same time this is happening, we cut to Jedi Master Green Bitch, who was just on the planet where everyone died 5 minutes ago, and she has already fast-travelled across the galaxy back to Coruscant, where she meets up with a senator who hates the Jedi. And even though she has gone out of her way to cover up all these crimes from the Senate, this stupid bitch who's supposed to be politically savvy makes the whole situation way worse by blurting out the fact that they are not dealing with just one murder, but actually multiple homicides.
How can you know there is no larger threat?
All the victims were Jedi.
There are multiple victims?
I'm facing a fucking moron!
Anyway, we cut back to Sol, who has landed on the witch planet, and he activates his transponder for no other reason than the plot needs Jedi Master Green Bitch to come find him, even though he ran away from her in episode 6.
None of this makes any sense.
Sol then pursues May, and the pair of them literally teleport to the top of the mountain just before Osha and Smilo show up. But it turns out that they're not the only ones who can use this new bullshit force power, as Smilo Ren also manages to teleport as well. Brilliant. Let's just add teleportation to the fucking never-ending list of retarded force powers that everyone can now use. Well, everyone but Osha, even though she's supposed to be all-powerful in the Force. So instead she powers up a 16-year-old elevator whose generator was destroyed by May, and somehow this fucking retarded nonsense works. We cut to Smilo, who has a gay little fight with Sol, and they start flying all over the place like they're from another franchise. Yes, Leslie, they're Asian, we know. It doesn't mean you have to have them go full Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon on us. Someone needs to tell Leslie that not every Asian knows Kung Fu. But what's funny about this scene is that Leslie actually thinks that this fight is better than the Duel of the Fates and the train fight in The Matrix.
Are you familiar with the term delusions of grandeur?
Meanwhile, Osha and May also have a terrible fight, and the clothes they are wearing are supposed to represent the dark and light sides of one person clashing against each other. Except the problem is that they're both equally awful people, so the colours they should be wearing is not black and white, but brown, to reflect their shitty personalities, as May takes no responsibility for blowing up her home and trying to kill her sister.
You started that fire. You locked everyone in.
Because the Jedi invaded our home.
And Osha is willing to suck off the man who killed her friends, even though their bodies aren't even cold yet.
You're both just awful.
Anyway, Jedi Master Green Bitch shows up with a platoon of Jedi, even though she was on Coruscant 5 minutes ago, and doesn't just drop her army off on the mountain like Trinity did with the Wookiee. No, she parks far enough away so that she can miss everything that happens on the mountain.
That is really stupid.
May then teleports away from her fight with Osha, only to beat up Sol and take his lightsaber. We then have some really bad editing, as only after May throws away Sol's lightsaber does Smilo Ren tell her to strike him down.
Strike him down. With what? His cock?
And what exactly is she supposed to hit him with, dickhead? She's already thrown away his lightsaber. Fuck me, who wrote this shit? Sol then eventually confesses that he killed their mother as Osha overhears this, and so she proceeds to commit a Stop Asian hate crime on Sol by slowly choking him to death.
Christ, who wrote this?
Sol ends up on his knees crying and begging to be killed, and has been reduced into a pathetic crying little bitch. Sol then dies, probably more from the embarrassment than the choking, because he did nothing wrong. And I'm not being sarcastic, he literally did nothing wrong. since he was totally justified to kill her mother because in Leslie Headland's own words, Anastasia is transforming herself and May into the Force. And does anyone know how Force users turn into the Force? Oh yeah, by dying. When Obi-Wan died, he became one with the Force, so too did Yoda and Darth Vader after him. And that is a transformation that cannot be reversed. May has to die to become one with the Force. So the black lesbian girl boss Space Witch was actually trying to kill both herself and May, which makes Sol 100% correct in killing her.
End of fucking story.
Ah well, we'll just ignore all of that because the Force is completely broken and can do whatever the fuck the writers needed to. So May and Osha, who were trying to kill each other 20 seconds ago, are now the best of friends because none of these characters behave like normal human beings. Osha then goes on to turn her lightsaber red because she's angry, which really doesn't make much sense because Anakin's lightsaber never did that, even when he was killing younglings. The only thing of his that did change was his eye colour, whereas for Osha it's the exact opposite, as she still has the same dead fish-eyed look on her that she's had all season. The only difference between the two characters that I can see is that Osha is a woman, and her behaving like an out-of-control nutcase is actually quite common, since they do that once every month. So there's only one thing her lightsaber turning red could possibly mean.
Looks like somebody's on the rag, huh, man?
Anyway, the pair of them escape through the secret dew tunnels that this temple has, and because the Jedi for some reason are unable to sense them, they have to rely on Basil, who I guess is back on their side again to track them down. A bunch more teleportations happen, with everyone just appearing and disappearing all over the fucking place, until May, Osha and Smilo reach the tree that the twins used to play under when they were kids. But this isn't a "we've come full circle" moment, but rather a "the plot has not moved one fucking step since the beginning" realization. Now the three of them are being chased by the Jedi, and instead of the three of them escaping on his ship, Osha agrees to become his apprentice on the condition that he erases May's memories.
Why?
I know, I couldn't believe it either when I saw it. So instead of doing the most obvious thing, which is for the three of them to just escape together on his ship, they make the absolutely retarded decision to leave May behind with amnesia, so that when the Jedi arrest her, they can't scan her mind to find Osha. But as I said before, they don't need to do any of this if they just took her with them.
This is so fucking stupid.
This choice is even more stupid because it's not like her having amnesia is just going to make the Jedi forgive all the murder she committed. Best case scenario, she's going to be confined to a mental institution indefinitely. And worst case, she's gonna serve multiple life sentences in a maximum security prison without even knowing why. No one in the show behaves like a normal human being because they make the most insane choices imaginable for the dumbest of reasons. Anyway, the episode ends with Osha becoming an Acolyte, May is being trained to be a Jedi and not thrown in prison for some reason, and Jedi Master Green Bitch blames everything on Sol, even going so far to say that the Jedi have been covering up crimes for decades, because somehow telling the Senate that the Jedi are a bunch of out-of-control criminals is a politically savvy move.
We're not the awful people you think we are!
No! The truth is we've been lying to you all night!
Jedi Master Green Bitch is a shit politician because her stupid lie actually makes the Jedi look way worse than if she just blamed this whole thing on some random Force user. Which brings me to my next point, which is that Jedi Master Green Bitch is a piece of shit because we can see that she clearly knows who the killer is, as she was Smilo Ren's teacher and she sensed him back on the Witch Planet, so why hasn't she told anyone that he's behind all this? Who gives a shit at this point? Now with Sol dead, the secrets of the Sith dies with him.
Right? Wrong.
This isn't true because we have an eyewitness to when Smilo admitted he was a Sith, and that witness is none other than Basil, who was there when it happened. So to blow this conspiracy apart, all Basil has to do is tell someone, anyone, about the Sith, or the fact that the Jedi are lying about Sol. But I guess he doesn't because the writers kind of forgot about that massive problem, and that's it. That was the finale to The Acolyte.
That was shit!
Oh wait, no it isn't, because there's a pointless cameo of Yoda at the end of the show, just like Qui-Gon Jinn in Kenobi.
This is a waste of time.
The Acolyte was a poorly written attempt to deconstruct the Jedi and the Sith, But because Leslie Headland fails to understand, well, just about anything of Star Wars, what she ended up creating was an incoherent, retarded, badly acted mess that ended up being a laughingstock for the entire Star Wars fandom. Thankfully, this turd is the worst watched show out of all the new Star Wars series, so let's hope that Leslie, the potato head Headland, doesn't get a second season, because imagine what she would do to Yoda. She would probably have him set up a secret Jedi paedophile ring where he takes incriminating photographs of senators with young Padawans and blackmails them afterwards. Or she would have the Sith try to lower the age of consent in the Republic, because Leslie Headland is not just a terrible human being, but also a terrible writer as well. But what annoys me more than this show are the particular type of Star Wars fans that will swallow anything Disney gives them as long as it slightly resembles Star Wars. You could literally have dry dog shit fermenting in the sun with a sticker of Darth Plagueis on it, and these shills would swallow it whole and say that it tastes like chocolate. I wish this was the end of Star Wars, but next up is the Skeleton Crew, which will absolutely waste Jude Law's talent as an actor. We then have the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, followed by a Rey Palpatine sequel, and a Dawn of the Jedi film, which of course will mean a woman started the Jedi Order, because every film is doing the same exact thing.
Put a ticket in and make her name it gay!
I don't want it, you don't want it, but of course we're gonna keep getting more Star Wars. More Star Wars TV shows, more Star Wars movies, and more Star Wars games, because the nightmare that is Disney Star Wars will never fucking end. You can't escape it even by killing yourself, because when we all go to hell, we're gonna be tortured forever with a never-ending Disney Star Wars marathon. But until we are tortured forever with Disney Star Wars, that was episode 8 of The Acolyte.
It's a piece of shit.